Well, hello, folks, back again. DJ here of DJ DH Eclectic. I did promise you this morning that I would be back quite soon, and here I am now. It's 12:50 here at the moment on the 4th of August, and it's Monday. Now, I did promise I'd be back, so here I am, and I want to talk to you, but I want to make a disclosure before I do. ADF. Now, I'll explain what ADF is. Some of you may not know, some of you may know, but I am a member. So that's my disclosure. Now, I want to talk to a pastor. Yes, a street preacher, Dear Moodley. He's an American. And he was assaulted by Muslim bystanders who objected to his peaceful preaching in Bristol. One man threatened to stab the pastor. Another Muslim threatened to and attempted to punch the pastor's wife because they didn't like what he was saying about Christianity and Islam. Now, the police attended. Now, what would you think the police would do? You know, this pastor has been, I'll tell you how he was assaulted later, but he was assaulted and his wife was threatened with a punch in the face, and the police attended. What did they do? They threatened to arrest the pastor. Yes, they didn't even interview the two Muslims that was attacking him. No, they threatened the pastor. This is Avon and Somerset police in England. Lovely area Avon and Somerset is, Weston-super-Mare, some of you may know of, Taunton, Minehead I think is there. There's lots of holiday places to go and visit, and campsites and hotels, seaside, and so. But I'm going off the point. The police officer responded by threatening to arrest the pastor twice for breaching the peace, despite the fact the men had pinned the Christian pastor to the floor, knocked him off. I'm going to say that later. They pinned him to the floor and tried to take the Quran he was holding out of his hand, saying, "It's not his book, it's our book," even though the pastor had bought it himself. Now, how did the Muslims assault the preacher? I said I'd tell you. He was standing on a ladder while preaching, so they knocked him off the ladder that he was standing on, and they pinned him to the ground forcefully. On a previous occasions, the police tried to censor the pastor's preaching, and last year they arrested him for commenting on Islam. You can talk about Christianity, they told him, but you cannot talk about Islam. Why not? Now, I said I was a member of the ADF, and I'll tell you what it is later on, but the ADF International supports Pastor Moodley, the pastor that was attacked, in action against the Avon and Somerset police, which includes a complaint concerning the most recent incident regarding the police treatment of him and their failure to promptly investigate serious crimes against him. They didn't want to know about what the Muslims had done to him. No, they just wanted to arrest him. In vindication, Pastor Moodley's, the police apologised for the destruction of his signs and reiterated the apology after he submitted a complaint with the support of ADF International. So he had some signs up about he was a Christian preacher. The police destroyed them. No right to destroy the public's property, and that was not part of a crime, but they did so anyway. It's frightening, isn't it, that they will do these things. These police are such a two-tier policing nowadays. It's frightening what they're doing. Now, let me see. Pastor Moodley, Dear Moodley, I told you he's from America. He's been living in England for a few years now. I preach, this is what he said, I preach in public because I believe all people, including Muslims, need to know that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. Biblical scripture. I always do so respectfully, out of love for my neighbour. Unfortunately, he continued, on this occasion a group of Muslim men objected to my preaching and reacted with violence. It's shocking that the police initially said I had breached the peace. He's knocked off the ladder, he's held on the ground, his wife is threatened with a punch in the face, but he's the one who breached the peace. This shows yet again the two-tier policing which targets the expression of Christians. It's the reality in modern Britain, he said. It continues, my case is evidence of the severe free speech crisis in the UK, which has increasingly been making headlines and has even attracted expressions of alarm from the United States, from the Vice President and the President of the United States, J.D. Vance, and of course Donald J. Trump. With the help of ADF International, Pastor Moodley is also taking an action for compensation against Avon and Somerset Police for his signs, which were destroyed under police instruction following his arrest last year. It's disgraceful. The police have apologised for the destruction of his signs, and they've reiterated an apology after he submitted a complaint with the support of ADF International. I told you I'd explain what ADF is, so I'll tell you now. It's a faith-based Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF, Alliance Defending Freedom, and it's faith-based. One of the barristers in Britain is Lorcan Price. He's an Irish barrister and legal counsellor for ADF International, and he said, we're proud to stand alongside Pastor Moodley in his fight for free speech. His experience shows clearly the extent to which the right of free speech has deteriorated in the UK, including with the imposition of a de facto blasphemy laws that target Christian expression through public order and other legislation. All in favour of, he continues, all in favour of free speech must support repealing censorial legislation and introducing stronger protections for the freedom of expression in UK. Otherwise, innocent people like Pastor Moodley will be forced out of the public square or face unjust criminalisation for their peaceful expressions. Now I'll give you some background. On the 22nd of March this year, Pastor Moodley engaged in street preaching in Bristol city centre, where he spoke about the difference between Jesus and Mohammed, while holding the Quran in his hand. A crowd gathered, and a number of Muslim men took offence at Pastor Moodley's preaching, with one man threatening to stab him and another attempting to punch his wife. He was prevented from doing so, by the way. The bystanders then proceeded to the Muslim bystanders then proceeded to try to forcibly take Pastor Moodley's Quran off him. They pushed him off his ladder, pinned him to the ground, and claimed the Quran was their book, not his. You weren't allowed, if you're not a Muslim, to own a Quran, it seems. Does a Christian say a Muslim cannot hold a Bible? No. In response, the police officers told Pastor Moodley on 2 separate occasions that he would be arrested for breach of peace, despite the fact he was the victim of the crime. Meanwhile, the man who threatened to stab Pastor Moodley continued to make threats in the presence of the police officers. He was still threatening him, even though the police were present. What did the police do about it? Nothing. That man was not arrested or questioned at the scene, and no details of any Muslim men who had assaulted Pastor Moodley was taken on the day of the incident. They're going to arrest the man who was attacked and pinned to the floor and whose wife was threatened with violence, but the people who pursued that violence weren't even questioned. No details taken of them. members of the public, they intervened strongly to the police on Pastor Moodley's behalf to say that he'd done nothing wrong or hateful. It took a senior inspector from the Avon and Somerset police force who arrived and told Pastor Moodley, contrary to what the other officers had said previously to him, there was no chance he would be arrested. That was in March, yeah? Let me tell you something. In March last year, Pastor Moodley was arrested after preaching about the differences between Christianity and Islam in Bristol, despite the fact he was the victim of assault on that occasion. He was arrested on suspicion of committing racially and religiously aggravated harassment without violence under Section 31, Stroke 1, Stroke C of the Crime and Disorder Act 1998 and Section 5 of the Public Order Act 1986. Get this. He was held in a police cell for 13 hours. Now, I admit I've been in a police cell. I was in the police cell for half an hour. No crime committed. The police sent me a letter saying no action was going to be taken. I've been in a police cell 3 times like this. And I tell you, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in a cold, plain, small cell with an iron door clanging behind you is designed to intimidate. It's designed to take all expressions of defiance out of you, to make you compliant with the questioners. I can't imagine being in one of those little cells with nothing to do. Your watch is taken off you, your laces are taken off you, your belt's taken off you. For 13 hours. That is unreasonable torture in my mind. This incident with him being in the cell for 13 hours came after Avon and Somerset Police previously conceded restrictions they placed on Pastor Moodley, preventing him from passing comments on other religions besides Christianity. As I said, you can criticise Christianity, but none others were disproportionate. They admitted they were disproportionate after these were challenged by ADF International and the Free Speech Union. He was in prison for 13 hours after they'd already previously conceded their restrictions on his preaching were disproportionate to your policing, intimidating behaviour. An inspector said, "You were not, there's no chance you'll be arrested." And then he's arrested and kept in a cell for 13 hours and then released. No charge. They couldn't charge him because he hadn't committed a crime of disorder under Section 31 of the 1998 Act. He'd not committed a disorder under Section 5 of the Public Order Act. They used them just to stop him preaching. They used them to intimidate. But Mr. Moodley, dear Moodley, American, he refused to be intimidated. He refused to lie down and roll over like a beaten dog. No, he stood up and he came to ADF International, and we took his case on. We took his case on. The Alliance for Defending Freedom, it's a faith-based organisation, took his case on, and we're winning. And we've taken it on this one now. We want compensation for destroying his Christian signs that belong to him, and the police destroyed them. Even though he said, "They're mine, don't." We're going to sue the police. We're going to sue them for false arrest. But unfortunately, of course, the police are financed by you, by me. They say we haven't got enough money to police the streets, that we've got so much crime we haven't solved because we haven't got enough policemen, we haven't got enough resources. Yet these police arrested a man who was being attacked. They arrest. Do you know, we have now in Britain, it was just released yesterday, 43 people over the age of 60 have been reported to the police for saying things on the internet that the police don't like us saying. By talking about immigrants, by talking about COVID, the vaccines, the injuries they've caused. 43 people this last year, from March last year, over the age of 60, taken into custody. We're telling on each other, and who's telling on them? Snowflakes that are finding injury in words, hurty words. It's got to stop, surely. 1984, George Orwell's novel warned of these things happening. He got the date wrong. It's not 84. It's 25. But it's all there. Don't lie down. Don't roll over. Peacefully put your name to something. Subscribe to the channel. Press the like button. And make your comments known. I implore you to make your comments known and to press that subscribe button. Be safe, be good, and stand up for your rights. Until the next one, bye for now. Bye.